Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Everyone who reads and must converse is the channel. Thanks for coming by. Happy Friday. For sure, happy Friday. It's getting cold. It's wet out here in Atlanta area. It's been a tough week, and that is just how it goes. When it's raining and everything like that, makes my work a lot tougher. I work outside, and it has been a wild week, that's for sure. I hope everybody's doing good. We have a very special kind of night tonight. I'll have one of my best buds on with me, a booktuber that started his channel right when I started my channel, the 1st of January 2020. Hey, Mark. Mark Richardson in the house. Nice to see you, brother. And who I'm referring to, of course, is Jack from Rambling Raconteur. Jack is a wonderful reader. I mean, isn't he like what one of the strongest readers we have on BookTube, I would say. He reads a lot. He reads all different kinds of stuff. Hey, Christina from Portugal. Christina in the house. Nice to see you. For sure. Always awesome. Nancy, hello. Happy Friday. Thanks for coming by. Oh yeah. What's up, Josh? Josh Doty. Just finished the Dune movie. Very cool. Well, I put my thoughts on the Dune movie up like the morning after I watched Dune. It was like it was this past Sunday because I had watched it on Saturday night. What a fun movie for sure. But they made it an action movie, you know, and that's fine. I mean, it's a first installment. It's half of a movie, Dune Part One. So we'll see what they do with the second one. They better get with some of the broader world building and some of the scope. There's nothing about what the spice does, even to the individuals. All it. What's up, Tyler? Thanks for coming by, brother. All they say is that they use the spice for, travel. For the guild navigators use the spice for travel, and that's it. That's all they say. It's just you don't hear how or why or that it alters their being to where they're not even human the way that other humans are. All that kind of stuff. There's just so much lacking to the storyline. What's up, Bryant? Scott and Becky in the house. Thanks for coming by. Happy Friday. And what a cool crazy live you guys had. I was on listening most of the time, but was not able to comment most of the time. What's up, PG? I ain't finna read that. Uh, if y'all aren't aware, PG, I ain't finna read that, did a review just earlier this week, a couple days ago, of Donald Gwen's a novel, and it was really cool to get a taste of that because, dude, nobody talks about that stuff. You know, we do need some more. I mean, everybody on BookTube, it seems, does try to read diversely, but there's so many different people, there's so many different types of Americans, even that even American lit, we there's avenues and there's places that people don't talk about enough. And I would say, stuff like that does need to be expounded on more, just shown some more stuff. What's up, Brandy? Book Eclectic Brandy in the house. Paul Matchin in the house. Thank you for coming by, brother. Awesome to see you. Happy Friday. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, they turned it into an action movie. And let me tell you, Duncan, Idaho in the book is a major, major character. Duncan, Idaho is major. Anybody who's read more more than just the first few books has read Frank Herbert series, you know what a big part Duncan, Idaho plays, and you don't even know in this first movie. Duncan Idaho's just a warrior, very bland, doesn't have hardly uh anything to his personality. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. They get their eyes blue. Yeah, all the Freemen have bright blue eyes because they're just inundated with spice. What's up, very very literary Carrie in the house? Happy Friday, for sure. Yep, everybody's showing up. What's up, Leah? Pen to paper. Pen to paper, Leah. This channel right here, guys. She deserves way more subs than she has. I wouldn't be surprised if most of my followers don't even follow her, don't know that she has a channel. It's an author tube slash booktube channel. So, when you ride that kind of when you ride that kind of wave where your content kind of is broader, then YouTube doesn't pick you up as readily to suggest videos and stuff as others. Please go check out her channel. She's a delight, and I always enjoy your stuff. And I definitely wouldn't mind in the future maybe checking out some of your work. I don't, read too much just like genre fantasy stuff like that, so it might not be up my alley. But I love supporting people, and that's what it comes down to. So check it out. Check it out. Waiting for the loot, right? I mean, dude, Paul's mother should be stronger. I mean, just the happy Halloween, Fiction Beast. Awesome to see you for sure. I'm going to be talking about a book that Fiction Beast brought up in his top. I don't know how many you did, top 10, but maybe more than 10 scary books. And I didn't find this book scary, to tell you the truth, at all. I didn't even find it to be a horror. The premise seems a horror, and I'm talking about the posthumous memoirs of Cubas. The premise seems a horror, but it's not at all to me. But you did mention on that, Fiction Beast did mention on that as well, Pedro Paramo, which is totally a horror and so fun, and just like you're reading a David Lynch movie. Oh, I love Pedro Paramo. Love it, love it. Very cool, Leah. Very cool. And yeah, I mean, I love supporting people, and you definitely deserve it. I mean, your content is great. I see that you obviously put a lot of effort into your content and what you're going to say things that are worth it for people. So this is going to be a graphic novel edition of what I'm about to show before I get into get my boy Jack on the on the live here. Whenever he's ready, whenever I'm ready, we'll do that. But I did and have picked up some graphic novels, and let me tell you where to find graphic novels for me. Because I go for complete sets. I go for full on storylines. I don't want partial stories. I want a full run. Where to go is Ollie's. All right, Ollie's, the outlet for sure. Okay. I'm gonna blow your minds with a couple of things that I found from Ollie's, but this is gonna be from an online seller off Instagram named Book Dude Books at Book Dude Books. That's what it is. Jack does live on a desert planet. Jack would be right at home with Dune, right? He's out there running miles, hiking hiking across the desert in Arizona. It's ridiculous. But BookTube Books was is the place that I found the first two of these, and I grabbed the full edition 1 and 2 of Mouse. I read this a long time ago, and it is very affecting. It's very powerful work. I can't say too much about it because I was like young when I read it. I remember being very affected by it and like, oh my God, what, graphic novels can do this kind of thing. And so it's time. It's time to re-experience Mouse, and I got the full Mouse. And that's why I love online sellers. You know what I mean? It's like I just follow, I keep my eyes open, and then I knew at some point Mouse would come along and I'd be able to get it, you know? So it happened. But also with that, I grabbed another Art Spiegelman. This is The Wild Party, a book by Joseph Moncure March called The Wild Party. But this is replete with illustrations by Art Spiegelman. Yeah, My Ollie's has thousands of graphic novels too. You have to look through all of them. You have to look through them all. But I'll show you. I mean, I haven't these I didn't get from Ollie's. I'll show you what I got from Ollie's. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Nice. Yeah, Tyler. Dude, Tyler, you're a badass. For sure. I was wondering what you were supposed to say. Aracazona. There you go. There you go. So the Wild Party, it says here, the Wild Party is the book that made me want to be a writer. That's what William S. Burroughs says about this book. Another from the San Francisco Chronicle, this was really interesting to me. It says the Wild Party may have begun as a dark prohibition era fable, morality fable. But thanks to Art Spiegelman, it lives again as a funhouse mirror of current fears. And I mean, there is an amazing amount of illustrations through this. It is through all of the pages. Like it is just illustrated throughout with the text all around. So it's cool. It's really really cool. There's quite a few that I can't show that I'm not going to show, but it's all black and white as you can see. But I picked it up because I was picking up Mouse from the same seller and he put this up at the same time and I'm like, yeah. Let me get some of that as well. And I can't wait. Very cool, huh? Just another little special thing. So, along with that, a scary one, a horror, and we'll go through some horror tonight, that's for sure. Yeah. What's up, Brian? Brian in the house. Brian from Bookish. Nice to see you, for sure. Y'all are too funny, I swear. All right. Hey, Ghost Book Reviews. What's going on? Satan Tango. Very cool. I have not read it. I've heard awesome things. I heard there's like a 6-hour movie made on Satan Tango. um, I'll definitely read the book first, that's for sure. Along with the Art Spiegelman here from Book Dude Books, I had got From Hell. This comes so highly regarded from Tom at LA Books. Tom, LA Books, and I are right now reading uh, The Broom of the System by David Foster Wallace. I'm about halfway through. It is hilarious. It is grotesque. It is, I mean, it's hysterical, is what it is. And it is very, very weird. There's a lot of crazy stuff in it. Um, so that's The Broom of the System. I'll let you know when I finish it. From Hell, this is a beast. I mean, it's a big graphic novel, and always had been, I hear, always had been only produced and let out in one edition like this, not been put in a single, not been put in any way but a single volume. Now, I get what you're saying there, Tyler, for sure, because the art is black and white, and it's all this ultra hashed out drawing, very thin lines, deep blacks, a lot of black space, some negative space, but most of it is just full of this ultra hashed out stuff. We'll see. I mean, I'm not I have no idea. I really don't. I've never read it. I don't know what to expect. It seems, I mean, when it comes down to it, I will read anything that Alan Moore does. Alan Moore, I will read anything Alan Moore does. It is very, very cool. But yeah, there's so much like rain scenes like that where everything's just totally, hashed through. But like I said, it's these really thin marks, it's really thin lines. And I mean, so much detail. Let me get over here. So much detail for what it is. And very cool. I mean, yeah, yeah, exactly right. I love Alan Moore. I mean, and not just his graphic novels, because I mean, I still haven't read. I'm hadn't been big on it, but I read Watchmen, of course, and Watchmen and V for Vendetta back in the day, and it was just amazing stuff. But it's graphic novels, so it just wasn't all like I needed to get more and all that kind of stuff. So, but everybody loves Alan Moore. Alan Moore is like, an amazing, like a god to these people who love graphic novels and that's their medium. Um, it's amazing. But um his books are amazing. I mean, Jerusalem, that's what really got me to where I'm like, wait a second, I need to really see everything that Alan Moore has done. I need it because Jerusalem is so freaking good and so mind blowing. I can't even. I can't even. So, with that being said, I picked up another Alan Moore at Ollie's. This was one, I can't believe it, but I pulled the wrapping off of these two. These were both in. Oh, you got to do it, Mark. You got to do it, brother. It's just amazing. And I would say to get the 3 volume paperback, the 3 volume edition paperback, and just read it like 3 different books. Take them one at a time. You can read some stuff in between if you want. You don't have to, knock it out like I did. I'm a bit crazy with the way that I read books. I don't want to. I'm not gonna wait. Like with the Hyperion, I just read all 4 back to back. It's just how I do. So, hey, Christy Louise Dostoevsky in space in the house. Nice to see you. Hope your weekend is shaping up to be cool. Happy Friday, for sure. So I was looking through Ollie's, and I had found Batman: The Killing Joke by Alan Moore, and Brian Boland is the artist. And this is a noir, Batman noir. So it's all black and white. This was not always done in black and white, I don't think. I think it was done in color as well, but they did a noir just like how they did a Watchmen noir, right? The artwork is insane in this. It's insane in this. I love it. I love it. Little Bane action, right? The Killing Joke, I don't know, but I've heard because I was just looking at Alan Moore's stuff, right? And so I checked it out, and this is just one that I can't wait to get to. I mean, it'll be a quick read. It's not long. Not long at all. What it is actually maybe half of this book right here is the story. And then half of it is, well, a little over half is the story. And then after that is all and covers and different parts. Very cool, huh? So I grabbed that. just quick and easy. And then I have no um experience with this graphic novel. I think that I had heard Danny over at Spinelli Speaks talking about this one though. Very cool. I'm just catching up. Y'all are great. Y'all are great. Nice. Y'all are so funny. Yeah, nice. I'll check it out. I have never read it, so I don't know how great it is or something. But see, Alan Moore, he really wants to say stuff with his art and with his writing. He's really there's a lot of commentary on societal and political stuff, both in from hell, from what I gather, but definitely in Jerusalem. And it's done in a very cool way. It's not shoved down your throat. It's just kind of put out there, and put out there in a very real, tangible way by just everybody. You know, you feel this. You know, the situation we're in, the dichotomy, the poverty versus, you know, the haves and have-nots, that kind of stuff. It's just nobody talks about it. And Alan Moore illustrates it in a very natural way, where you're just in it and you're right there. But okay, so the next one that I found, this was on this was at Ollie's. I took the wrap off this one too. The Killing Joke and this one right here were still wrapped up, brand spanking new. I can't believe Ollie's does this, and I've never read any of these. But this is the complete covers of Fables. Look how beautiful this is. I mean, look how freaking beautiful this is. And not just the covers. This is insane how beautiful this is. Okay, I'm taking the dust jacket off right there. It is insane how beautiful and well done this book is. You might have seen on my channel, I mean, I got that Absolute Superman. Absolute Superman from there. It was an insane find, and you know, it's like a $50 book, like this is a $50 book. And hey guys, yeah, hey Jack's in the house. Okay, cool. So not only do you have this awesome artwork that is in this book, but they show you some process, you know, of every cover that it shows process of how the artist, you know, kind of realized the vision that I guess it's James Jean is the artist. It's amazing stuff. I mean, look at this. Unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. So, you know, I got it for like $5. You know, just nothing to it on at all. Maybe $7 for this one. And I'm like, why? You know, there's a wall of graphic novels at Ollie's. So, you know, I look through all of it, and I don't find a lot because I'm not into a lot, but I tell you, there's so much good stuff there. I don't know I don't know why they do it, and why they sit there, because these other graphic novel lovers, they don't go there and rate it. You know what I mean? They can't, because they wouldn't have so much. Yeah, that's right. I got a seat left on the ark. All right. So let's get my boy Jack. Let me get in the middle here, and let's see if Jack is ready to jump on the live with us. Hey, Jack.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome.
Happy Friday.
It is, right?
It is for me. I've been going all day, man. We had kid stuff, going up and taking my daughter up to school to do just kind of like some trick or treat action at the school.
Oh, nice.
That kind of thing. She got all dressed up for it. We did a first run for the Halloween, you know, a trial run.
Okay.
She's super picky about what she wears, what she eats, everything. My youngest Zelda is super picky. You know, if something doesn't feel right, she'll just sit and she'll just, you know, break down and just won't do it. I'm like, it's not that big a deal. It's socks, honey. Just put them on.
Yeah, no, my daughters are planners. They had their costumes planned out for a while, and then one of them changed it last night. So we'll see how that goes this weekend.
Yeah, very cool. So Jack and I buddy read the posthumous memoirs of Cubas.
Oh wait, we finished the book. I thought this was like an intro before you read video.
Holy crap. You'll find us none too prepared for tonight, guys.
Thankfully, we're both fluent in Portuguese, right? Or were you reading it in translation?
I was reading it into translation. I skipped around.
This was the when you started, when you open up the first page, did you also put on the title track from Simon and Garfunkel's second album? Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Right.
I've come to write with you again.
I'll tell you that's the Sounds of Silence, right? I'll tell you, I expected it to be a lot more, death oriented, a lot darker than like it was.
No.
You know what I mean? No. There's hardly nothing dark about this story.
Well, that's the beauty of it, right? Yeah, it's satire. Heavy. So, it's heavy duty satire.
Yeah.
That's a century ahead of its time. Or it really 2 centuries too late.
So 1880, right? That's when it was written.
1880. I think it was published in 81.
And so you had compared it to something I've heard it compared to that since then too. Tristram Shandy by Lawrence Stern.
Oh, you want to give a little? He compares it to. He mentions Stern like in the first or second chapter. He like name checks his idol, and it's like this is in a sense. There's a whole joke about the unfortunate souls who really stand for Paradise Lost. That John Milton, before he plagiarized Paradise Lost, had written out this scope about what he was going to do, and he said the Book of Job is a brief model for what my work is going to be. In a sense, like Michado de Assis wasn't aware of that, but in a sense, when he name checks Stern, this is sort of a brief model of Tristram Shandy. It's shorter. It's not nearly as digressive as Tristram Shandy, but it's absolutely like informed by Lawrence Stern's masterpiece. I love Tristram Shandy. If I had known this book was at all as hilarious as it is, at all like that type of satire, I would have, I don't know, got on Duolingo or something to just read a copy of the book because it's that funny.
Yeah. So in what ways, because I'm not familiar with it, if you just want to like give some specifics, like in what ways is it intention, like drawing right from Tristram Shandy, and in what ways are departures maybe?
Yeah, so the most obvious way is that Tristram Shandy is essentially a nonlinear novel. So one of the great jokes is that the full title is The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy, Gentleman, and it's supposed to be this like well-to-do lord of the manor who's now writing his memoirs of and the different experiences he's had in life. And of course, the whole point of the book is that he never actually writes any of his memoirs. He's like giving an opinion about something, and he goes, "Oh, but I'm in the text, he literally writes, I'm getting ahead of myself. I've not yet been born." And then he wants to jump back to like how he was conceived and all the screw ups that occurred there, and why his nose, wasn't like a prominent patrician nose, why he has a broken nose from his birth. And so all of these different ways that Stern is making this joke about the sense of like a linear novel that there's a story that begins and then ends. Cubas is right on that on the first page, in the first bit. Should I begin with my birth or with my death? And then he gives a middle finger to the Hebrew Bible and says, well, I'm going to begin with my death, which will give me an advantage over Moses in the Pentateuch, because he began, he ended with his death there.
Right.
What is he doing?
Right.
What is he doing?
Right off the bat. It's so silly. I tell you, I was completely like, I'm sure you probably got a feel for it because we talked while we were reading through it on Voxer and stuff, that I was just totally like, what is going on here? Like, I can't see what he's doing. I'm so confused. I like it. It's fun, but I don't know what he's trying to do. Like, what is happening in this? And, it starts off, maybe it's chapter 2 or 3 where he's talking about this plaster of his, the statue of
secret invention.
Yeah, right.
It's going to make him famous.
It's going to make him
famous.
Now
that he's finally reached the summit, oh, shoot, he died.
Yeah, right. But he dies from it or something like this. And it's like, what is happening? And like all this building himself up in his language, he's done all these great things, even all through the book. All these people are talking about me. They can't keep my name out of their mouth. It's the kind of stuff he
Right.
says, and it's like, who's talking about you? What are you doing? You haven't done anything. You haven't done anything. And it's like you don't feel sorry for him for anything because he makes horrible decisions. I mean, like, what, his love of his life is a married woman.
Well, those are the two parts I think that are important. Like you have, I mean, the book is hilarious. The non-linear nature of it, the way that he is like so intentionally breaking the fourth wall. I mean, like we were talking about, it feels like it could have been written 20 years ago, and people still would have been talking about how innovative it feels and things like
Right.
that.
Dude, it could
But
have been written today,
yeah,
and people would say, "There's this book is ahead of its time." You know
yeah,
what I mean?
it's so far ahead of its time that it's like looped back.
Right.
uh, but I feel like there's two pieces going on. One is that you have what I believe is very much a satire, and we had talked about like a satire of sort of confessional literature. I was thinking of Rousseau and Saint Augustine, and the ways in which Augustine has that infamous passage around the stupid apples, and how he one of his worst moments as a teen was stealing apples when he wasn't even hungry, and like what a terrible person that made him. And then Rousseau wants to start out like, nobody's ever done this. I'm just going to tell you everything, and I'm going to tell you like all of the weird thoughts that I was having, all the ways in which I was kind of a creep, all throughout my life. And so Machado de Assis, I think, is doing that. But I think the other thing he's satirizing, and I wasn't thinking about this until I was reading some letters from Horace Walpole to a Marquise. It's a cool book called When the World Spoke French. It's just correspondence from when the 18th century, really. But as I was reading, I was like, there were all those people. They were mostly men who never made it, as they were never a prime minister. They were at best like the minister of something for 2 years, and then they got in trouble and basically got fired. And they're essentially all just like, total mediocrities at best, who are just wealthy, who then would go and they thought it was really important to share their memoirs with the world. And every now and then there are a couple of them that were really good writers. As you said, they don't necessarily make any good decisions. They don't actually have any contribution to the world. There's a couple of them that are good writers, but none of them are really like great men that they think of themselves as. And I think that's what he's satirizing too, is
For
all
sure.
of these people like, oh, we have 2 centuries now of all these dudes writing their memoirs about how important they are.
Right.
And then people buying and reading this nonsense
Right.
about how
Yeah.
important this person was, and all the struggles they went through. Like,
Right.
what are you talking about?
Right.
You're
It's
sitting in like a nice warm room that is provided to you by all the people who labor under you. Like, you're a
yeah.
terrible person.
And it's so hard. It's so harshly done. Like, I mean, he's hardcore in this and in doing that kind of thing. I think it even is so. I think it flies over people's heads. I mean, Sophia Clef is a wonderful channel, and she had just recently done a wrap up. It was like within the
Mhm,
last week that I saw it, and she had read the posthumous memoirs of
mhm.
Cubas, and so she said a few things about it and things, and it was like, and I didn't really enjoy it, and I was like, yeah, I get it. You know? Because like you said, it's so ironic that people are going to read this and just be like so confused that they're just like, yeah, whatever, and just put it to the side. When he calls it out at the beginning, that's like, I have only like 5 readers, and she says, I don't really get what he's doing here. It's so confusing and so weird. And he actually has a chapter where he calls out um a chapter that is useless, and all that chapter says is that this is a useless chapter. And I'm like, but when you think about it, there's a lot of useless chapters. But
Well,
they're done for an effect. They're done for a reason.
right,
It's
right.
great. It's so great.
And
I mean, and then the chapter, the defect of this book, where he lays out, you know, I'm beginning to regret writing this book. Not that it bores me. I have nothing to do, and it's just, there's so much of this kind of thing and there's nothing, there's no like wisdom from beyond the grave, anything that you might expect.
No,
when
no.
when you start reading this, anything that you might expect, throw it out the window, because Cubas does not have any. I mean, he's just not a wise person
Well, and
at all.
he has that friend, Quincus Borbus. So
Yeah.
here's one of the things I kept thinking about, and I think this is something that a reader struggles with, especially, people who are used to the more autobiographical fiction. When you're reading a book that says the posthumous memoirs of some character, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, is this like some weird, like authentic auto fiction type thing? No, not at all. But I think that there are people who confuse, because I know there were times where I was trying to figure out where Michado de Assis is as right, because we have a book from this character Cubas, who is repeatedly like pushing himself into the narrative and like obtruding and intruding, and he's just all over the place. So it's like, wait a second, is this Machado de Assis intruding, or is this Machado de Assis writing a character who is intruding into his own memoirs? He is not Cubas.
Right.
I'm
Not at
not,
all.
he's not. And
No.
so then it's like, wait, is he Quincus Borbus? Is he like the guy who's trying to create this philosophy? And it's like, absolutely not. He's not
No.
that guy either. And so it's like there's this weird part of, because of the way the book is constructed, it keeps feeling like, wait a second, um, you know, where is this author who's creating this? And he's firmly behind the curtain, just like sending out all of this stuff. It's wild.
Yeah, as far as I know, Tyler's asking, and as far as I know, this is Machado de Assis's most well-known work in English. Is that correct?
It's his, I think so, yeah. So there's only two other works of his that well, he has some stories, and Codex
Right.
Cantina have done some videos on those.
Right.
This I think is his best work. I read Dom Cosmero, which was published about 10 years later, and is focused again on like a relationship that's not a very healthy relationship. But it feels like darker, a little bit more acidic. It's not nearly as like all over the place experimental and hilarious. It's much darker. There are ironies there. But I read Dom Cosmero maybe 10 years ago. Yeah, because it was right around the time my wife and I had started. It was like within the first year that we started dating. She found me a copy of it. And then I had to wait to find a copy of Posthumous Memoirs. But he also has a book called Quincus Borbus, I believe.
Quintus Borbus.
Yeah,
I've
where he
seen
like,
another Library of America edition look just like this, but it
yeah,
was
where
Quintus Borbus.
he's doing
Also,
something.
I just want everybody to know, Tyler especially, to know that Posthumous Memoirs of Cubas is also translated and done in an edition called Epitaph of a Small Winter. That's the same book.
Yeah.
Probably a different translation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this thing is experimental above anything. I mean, he almost has zero structure almost for what he's doing here. It's super meta, and you have a lot of trouble trying to locate where Machado de Assis is in
Mm-hmm.
this. He's just like this mastermind behind this craziness that you're reading, and it just keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. And when you think you're getting some narrative, well, then you get interjected with 70 years after his death,
There's
a
one copy left.
bibliophile a bibliophile finds the one remaining book in
Right.
a bookstore and falls in love with it, not because it's great, because it's not. It says it's because it's not great. And who's saying that? Cubas, or what, or Assis in that way, or whatever. But in love with it because it is the only copy, and he's a bibliophile that is, just in love with the fact that he has the one copy of a
Right.
work.
It's the rarity, not the work itself.
Right. And
Yeah.
so it just explores everything. It's wild. So wild.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I was realizing before, because I think it's important to talk about the romance that's in the book. One of the things that I think is really important, and something that I started to become more aware of as I thought around, like, this is a satire that's like very acidic. It's vicious at times.
Right.
The way he is viewing the how small the lives are of these people who think they're so big.
Right.
See you later.
Right. Later, Carrie, for sure.
This is a guy who was a grandson of people who were slaves in Brazil. Like the book itself was published while slavery was still legal in Brazil.
Right.
And so he has a very acute understanding of what people go through in order to prop up the nonsense of the elite society. And so he has no like I think that's a very authentic unleashing that he's doing.
It is.
When he's mocking like how these people who think they're so important, who pretend to be all these things, and then they're just terrible. Like he talks about the most moral man he ever met, and how the guy then he caught him like basically just lying about the stupidest things.
Right.
It's great.
And there's that part there where he's justifying and saying, well, these lies and deceits, this is what is making the society run, and this is what it is. And not just that. I mean, he's so perceptive. Michado de Assis is the thing, that the engine behind this thing, and Bras Cubas ends up being just a complete caricature, kind of thing. But when his slave, which is I guess more like what we would say an indentured servant, because he was a slave for a certain amount of time.
So he had been, but I think it was a slave who had been freed. And if I recall from the text, he was only freed because of like he was freed in the will. It wasn't like the
right. Yeah, in the death of the father. That's right.
Right.
And they were like, why would he do that? You can never know why he would do what he does. But then you find the slave, later the freed slave later on in the book. And just continuing on the train tracks, continuing on this kind of thing. And Bras Cubas praising him, saying, what a look at this clever guy. He's, paying back what he had endured. And it's just a commentary on how people that aren't self-aware, not trying to really break free of a negative tradition or a negative in their life, even a personal thing, that they don't, that they just continue, and it's ignorance or delusion, or and justify it however you want. But he calls it out, and there's so much of that kind of stuff. It's like you can get behind what he's saying in a lot of ways. Not that he's making a big commentary, but you can get behind him in the exploration of, you feel like you're getting something with substance, but then the rug gets pulled out from under you.
Well, then you get sad but short but happy, which are chapter titles. Like I don't think we mentioned, but the book is approximately, depending on your edition, it's between 200 and 300 pages, and then it's broken into 160 chapters. So you can average how many pages there are per chapter. There's a whole bunch of, there's probably at least 50, maybe 40, like single page chapters.
Oh, I mean, there's paragraph chapters.
Yeah.
There's, half pages all through. It was ridiculous how quick it was and there's zero reason for the chapter breaks sometimes. Like it just picks up right where it left off a lot of times. And it's like, well, even the structure of this is farcical.
Yeah, well, I remember I said it reminded me of watching like French New Wave films, or something like Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas, where they edit out all of the transition scenes, and so it's just like action, end of action, next scene, like you're just moving, and that's how the book feels. It's like, here's a thought, bang, here's another thought, bang,
right,
here's another thought, and it's just like, he's motoring, and then it's like, here's a thought I had on that thought 3 chapters ago, bang.
So much self-referential chapters like that. If you'll remember from chapter 123, blah 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 blah, and it's like, no, I don't know, what chapter are you talking about right now? This is ridiculous. You got flip back, like, and then you're like, well, why am I doing this? This is ridiculous.
It's great. So I had so much fun reading it. I was laughing. I was just delighted reading it. It was that funny.
So if you're into literary works, if you're into works, experimental fiction, things that are pushing, like what fiction can do, what storytelling can do, and not somebody who goes for a book that is just give me characters that are likable, and a plot that goes somewhere, and that has a satisfying ending. If you're going for a reading like that, then this is not your book. But if you're in for literary reading and want to see an amazing flex from almost 200 years ago that will feel like it was written, like it could be written now and still be like, holy crap, where'd this come from? This is the kind of book for you. Would you agree with that?
I think I agree with the praise. I would actually argue, I think there's more, as I was thinking about the book, across the past week, because we finished last weekend. One of the things I was thinking about was how within all of the chaos that is the book, and really the chaos that he wants to represent life to as being, there is that um there is that love triangle.
Right.
And I know they didn't, but it feels like New Order's bizarre love triangle was written about this book. Like that's how crazy the love triangle is. He's gonna marry Virgilia because his dad wants him to become a successful politician, and um her father has wealth, and so he wants to push that. And Broscov's is like, yeah, I don't know if I'm into that. I don't know if I want that life. I don't know if she's that pretty. And then she marries Lobo Neves, who's just, I mean, he's such a piece of paper.
Right.
He's just a piece of cardboard.
Right.
Except for the one scene where he gets angry. Please stop. I don't want you to get hurt. Um, he, and then suddenly it's like, oh, Virgilia. But so it is an absolutely bizarre love triangle. But underneath it all, there are these moments that are just so sad and so
Oh,
human and
yeah.
so emotional, where I don't want to go too much in, because there is like this plot within that love triangle, and the way that unfolds, the different like avenues that it could take, and the avenues that it ends up taking, and the tiny like 2 sentence, 2 paragraph reflections that we get from this odious, narcissistic Bras Cubas, who is
Right.
too cool for school a century before that was like possible,
Right.
um, are just so human and so emotional.
And I
Um,
saw I saw exactly what you're saying, and I think you're head on. And I was thinking when I came into contact with some of this stuff, it's like Bras Cubas is not exactly a coward. He's not exactly this kind of thing. He was willing to risk it all for Virgilia. He was. If she had agreed at some points, if she had, had the guts to go for it as well, he might have really had an exciting life. He might have really had something to write about and this kind of thing. And I guess it really there's an aspect of it that shows that even the mundane kind of life or something is there is merit to it, as far as telling your story and being maybe not maybe not publishing your memoirs or something
right.
on that level, but everybody's life kind of matters in that way. But
It's so this is going to be a wild comparison. This is going to feel like a left field comparison, but actually
I'm
think
used to
about
it by now, Jack.
it. There is a way in which this book could be the posthumous memoirs of Stoner.
Right. Exactly
Like
right.
like people absolutely love Stoner.
Yeah.
So and they love the humanity that's underneath it. Like
Right.
Stoner's life is miserable. His
Right.
marriage is horrible.
Horrible from the
Even
start.
even the happy relationship that he has, when I read that, like I don't view that as a relationship I would ever want to be a part
No.
of, or
Right.
it's hard to find happiness within that. And there's a way in which, like, if you took Stoner's life and then had him suddenly, at the day after he dies, try to write some memoirs with a
Right.
sense of humor, now that he's freed from all those shackles of society, there's a way in which that book could be very, very similar to the posthumous memoirs
Sure.
of Bras Cubas.
I will say that I think that Stoner's a little more self-aware than Bras Cubas was,
Sure,
because
sure.
Stoner was just more of he was more, even in his lifetime, being able to be a witness to things, and and say, you know, well, this is not ideal, but this is my life, and I'll make the best of it. I accept it. And Cubas is constantly heaping accolades on himself, where you're just like, wait a second, who's saying this stuff? Who are these people that are all, you know, praising you? They might be praising the Cubas name, but I don't even know why they're doing that. Just because you got money or something? Like, what is happening?
Yeah. And I think you know, there's a great sense, especially, you know, with October, a lot of people were reading a bunch of 19th century novels, big, heavy duty, realist novels. They're filled with details. They're filled with all these characters and all these relationships, and people are just enamored with that. And this book is taking all of that, and it's almost like the palate cleanser after you've read one of those. Like that would almost be the ideal time to read Posthumous Memoirs of Cubas, because you're either going to realize within 20 pages that you absolutely hate it, and you're like, I can't believe somebody would think this about, you know, all those great 19th century novelists that are his contemporaries. Like, who does this guy think he is? Or you're going to be like, wow, this is a breath of fresh air. Like, oh my gosh, this is like,
like, look at this guy.
This is what life is like to laugh again.
Yes. It's great. I'm so glad we buddy read it, Jack. I tell you, man. I got so much more out of it because you were in the read with me.
Oh, thanks.
Because of having contact with things like the Tristram Shandy, because you know, there was before earlier in the talk when you had compared it, you were like, you know, this is like this guy around the bar telling stories to his buddies, and either everybody you know, is sober and they, you know, they're not drunk yet, and they know he's just spinning yarns, and they're just kind of laughing with each other about it, or they're all completely hammered and they're just like, hell yeah, brother, tell us another one, you know, and they're just keeping on.
So I said that, and then what does he write?
Yeah, then he calls out his own narrative as a meandering drunken sprawl. And I was
like make it from one place to another without banging into all these places.
Right. It's so good.
It was so book.
It was so fun, brother.
Yeah, it's great. And the other one that I thought of was when I was, because the more and more, you know, as we read the book, it was all around like, whoa, this is wild. Like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, what is this guy doing? And I thought it was wonderful. I think there were times where I was enjoying it more than you were, but the other one that I started thinking about with the love triangle was Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, like, this book does a lot of the things Marquez does in that book, but I think it's just a lot more readable, and I think it's certainly a lot funnier, and possibly more human as well. So it was just, that was another one. Like, I'm not a huge fan of that book, and I thought, like, this book feels like what that book could or should have been.
Right. Yeah, so. and I think you're right about it when saying that there's a lot of humanity in this that is shown through stuff, but it's not in the way that just somebody who hears us say that is going to think that it's showing the real humanity by expounding that for you. It's going to show that to you by you know, showing you somebody who's giving you the kind of defense mechanisms up in front of it, and, you know, painting a picture of that you can clearly see through, but they don't, you know, but they're trying to, you know, kind of put up a front or something like that. That's the kind of thing. And you get that, and you see that about Cubas, and it is affecting. And it's, you know, there's a couple of times when it is kind of heartbreaking to look at Cubas and be like, man, bro, your life sucks.
You were this close. You were this close to having like the life worth living, in a sense.
Right. If Virgilia would have just done it, and like, you guys just take off and go.
No, I don't want to blame Virgilia. It's on Cubas, but there There was like, I'm absolutely not gonna blame Virgilia. I won't stand for that. I'll put on my Lobo Neves mask and back her. But there were three chapters that I could think of. I don't want to like go into those because I want people to read this and enjoy it. It's an absolute masterpiece of world literature. But there were three times where like I kind of just put the book down once that chapter ended and got up and like got a drink of water, kind of just thought about it and was like, wow, like this guy, he's doing so much. Like he has so much going on. And then he's still managing to like sink that needle into the heart. And I loved it. I'm so excited to reread it for a whole variety of reasons, but the deep sadness and humanity that was underneath, all of this craziness was really what has stuck with me.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think it is safe to say that you just kind of enjoyed it with more depth than I did. But it was, it depends on like we were saying, things, what is he drawing on that you have experience with, and like, being able to see what he's really doing, because he's doing a whole lot. He's doing a whole, it's insanity. It's completely insane how much he does with 120 chapters in 200 pages.
160 chapters.
160 in 200 pages, right? It's crazy. Completely crazy. Yeah. It's a romp.
Yeah, it is. The pace is incredible.
The pace is incredible. I really enjoyed it. That's our first our first buddy read since you didn't
well, no, technically it was our first buddy read since Sanctuary, but we don't
need to talk about
this is our Sanctuary. I hate that book.
I enjoyed going off on Sanctuary, let me tell you.
Yeah,
Jesus. Yeah, I will. Let me tell you, I won't be rereading that one. This one I'll definitely be rereading.
Yeah, right.
All right. Anything else you want to throw out there?
No.
I see your little girl's crazy hair don't care.
Yeah, well, it's the end of the week, and we've been active this afternoon before.
Heck yeah,
I'm here.
Love it.
So, watch out, sweetie.
Very cool. Thank you very much, brother. We'll I'll cut it then. There. We will catch you on the next one, BookTube. Thanks for coming by. Happy Friday night, all that kind of stuff.
Thank you, everyone.
Jack, you're the best.
Hey.
And I'm looking forward to another read with you, brother.
Oh yeah.
Later.
See you later.